My parents idolized my brother, but karma and my retribution unveiled his true nature. My parents adored my younger brother, Ethan, while treating me with disdain. But karma and my calculated response revealed him as a schemer abductor, and the monster their favoritism molded. Growing up, their treatment of me was harsh, but I believe they cared for me until Ethan arrived, as our childhoods were starkly different. They repurposed my 8th birthday to celebrate Ethan, not because it was his birthday, but because he deserved it. Don't misunderstand, I adored him. He was the most charming little kid I'd ever seen. Yet deep down, I couldn't help but wonder, didn't I deserve some love too? It wasn't until I turned 16 that I finally spoke up. They gifted Ethan a car for my birthday, despite him being only 12 and never having driven. When I asked why I received nothing, they said Ethan's joy should suffice as my gift. I let out a heavy sigh, realizing I had to abandon my hope of ever having affectionate parents. Because they gave me nothing throughout my childhood, I thought that if I got into college, I could leverage their neglect to cover part of my tuition, maybe 20%, to avoid drowning in debt. My mother laughed hysterically, slamming her fist on the table so hard I thought it might leave a mark. "Get lost and sort it out yourself," my father sneered, a smirk curling his lips. I told myself their words no longer hurt, but they did. I don't know why I kept returning for the holidays, but I did. I even taught Ethan how to drive the car meant for me. Every Christmas, I watched him unwrap gifts I never received. But the breaking point came when I was 22. Ethan got accepted into a local community college, and my parents threw him a lavish party. I attended to show support. Toward the evening's end, my father tapped his glass for a toast, calling Ethan the brilliant son they'd always wanted. That stung. As I prepared to leave, he continued, announcing they'd cover Ethan's entire tuition and buy him a house for the full college experience. My jaw dropped, my eyes wide with disbelief. Once the guests left, I gathered my family in an upstairs room. "What the hell?" I shouted, my phone discreetly recording in the corner. My mother slapped me, her ring grazing my cheek, drawing blood. "You can never be happy for anyone, can you?" She spat venomously. "We shouldn't have invited him," my father grumbled. I glanced at Ethan, who stared at the floor. After they left, I closed the door and uploaded the video to every platform I could, tagging my entire family on Instagram for good measure. Exhausted perhaps from the champagne, I passed out on the bathroom floor, waking at 3 a.m. to my parents banging on the door, screaming, "We despise you." I pretended to sleep, and they eventually left. The next morning, the family group chat exploded. Some said I deserved the slap, others called me a disgrace, like comments under toxic social media clips. Everyone agreed we needed to meet in person. We gathered at Ethan's favorite diner, parents, grandparents, 3 aunts, and me. The conversation quickly shifted from small talk to my parents' favoritism. I stayed silent, letting my paternal grandparents defend me. After hours of heated debate, my parents apologized, grudgingly. My mother's apology was mechanical, her teeth clenched, while my father shrugged, muttering agreement. My grandparents, sensing the insincerity, invited me to stay with them during holidays. Their offer warmed my heart, and I moved in that day. Later, they confided, "We're still cutting your parents from the will, but we wanted you to get the apology you deserved." I smiled genuinely for the first time in years, thinking the ordeal was over. But the next morning, I rushed my grandmother, Elena, to the hospital. Someone had spiked her food with laxative powder the previous day. Had we arrived 4 hours later, she'd be dead. I knew Ethan was responsible. In the hospital waiting room, my hands shook as I replayed the diner scene. Ethan barely ate, fixated on Elena's plate, refilling her water repeatedly. My grandfather arrived, pale and teary, embracing me tightly. The doctor confirmed Elena's system was overwhelmed by industrial-strength laxatives, nearly causing heart failure. My grandfather, furious yet determined, asked me to recount every detail from the diner. I described Ethan's odd behavior, sitting beside Elena, adjusting her napkin, and slipping into the kitchen briefly. My grandfather called his lawyer, a private investigator, and the diner, securing their security footage. As family members arrived at the hospital, my parents and Ethan feigned concern. My mother's worry seemed theatrical, while Ethan lingered near the door, checking his phone and avoiding my gaze. When I visited Elena, she weakly described feeling ill after the diner, with cramps worsening overnight. Back at my grandparents' house, my grandfather showed me grainy footage of Ethan entering the kitchen for 30 seconds. The diner reported a missing container of laxative powder, the same kind found in Elena's system. Though circumstantial, it was damning. I installed hidden cameras at home, documenting Ethan's suspicious visits. He'd arrive unannounced, asking about Alina's health and offering to handle her medications. My parents dismissed my concerns, accusing me of jealousy, but my grandfather agreed Ethan was dangerous. He changed the locks, installed a security system, and hired a nurse for Alina. Then anonymous threatening notes appeared under Alina's door, always after Ethan's visits. Her medications started vanishing, and I upgraded the cameras. One night, footage captured Ethan sneaking in at 3 a.m., tampering with Alina's water glass. I backed up the video multiple times. When I showed the family, Ethan claimed I deepfaked it out of jealousy. Some believed him, citing my tech skills and the earlier video I'd posted. The family split, my parents and Ethan's supporters against me and my grandparents. Alina, despite her frailty, insisted Ethan was dangerous, but some dismissed her as confused. I changed tactics, pretending to reconcile with Ethan. Over weeks, I gained his trust, visiting his house to play games and talk. Alone in his home, I found journals under his bed detailing years of manipulation, gaslighting our parents, isolating me, and plotting against Alina for defending me. I photographed every page and consulted a handwriting expert. At a family meeting, my grandfather presented the evidence: footage, notes, missing pills, and journal entries. Ethan's defense unraveled as he contradicted himself, but my parents clung to him. Alina's testimony about his creepy behavior swayed some, but the meeting ended in chaos. That night, I spotted Ethan's car outside, engine running. By morning, our mailbox was smashed. Cameras caught Ethan with a baseball bat. The police called it a civil matter. Harassment escalated, dead flowers, slashed tires, and a fake welfare check. Ethan always had alibis, often provided by our parents. When Alina's heart medication vanished, I saw Ethan watching from the pharmacy parking lot. Fearing escalation, we hired a second investigator, Laura, a former detective. She caught Ethan buying dangerous drugs and meeting a drug dealer. We set a trap, announcing Alina's hospital visit while hiding her elsewhere. Ethan arrived with a bag of lethal narcotics, which he discarded when he found the room empty. Laura retrieved it, and we went to the police. That night, Ethan and my parents came to our house, Ethan offering a calm apology and suggesting therapy. I noticed his hand in his pocket and his focus on Alina. When he insisted on making her tea, I grew suspicious. As he handed her a cup, I knocked it away, revealing his rage. He lunged, admitting he wanted Alina and me to suffer. Laura and the police arrived, arresting him as he brandished a knife. The tea tested positive for lethal drugs. Ethan faced charges of attempted murder, drug possession, and stalking. My parents bankrupted themselves hiring a lawyer, refusing to accept his guilt. The family fractured further, with some blaming me. 3 weeks before the trial, Ethan cut his ankle monitor and vanished, leaving a note. "I'll be seeing you." He'd planned his escape, emptying accounts and using a fake ID. My parents blamed me, threatening lawsuits. Mysterious packages arrived with photos of our house and threatening notes from Ethan. Tragedy struck when Ethan kidnapped Alina while I was out. The house was trashed, the guard and nurse subdued. Ethan called, demanding the inheritance and a false confession, giving me 24 hours. The police couldn't trace him. Thank you for watching my story. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and press the bell icon. Stay tuned for more real-life stories, get more experiences.